everybody to a new episode of Pro Cuts. We are here with Rob Friedman, Mr. Pitching Ninja, owner of Flatground, and we have our special guest today is Luke Little from Charlotte, just graduated or just finished up at San Jacks and now committed to South Carolina. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's start real quick with this. You are the most famous guy on Twitter right now, and it's because of this video of you throwing 105 miles per hour, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking at, say that again, Rob?
I just pointed to the 105. I think that's right.
Okay. Right. So I don't know if it's 105. So let me show you the video and just you tell me if this is 105. I'm just not sure. Rob, you might have a better idea. So,
wow.
Oh, brother.
I don't know, man. The arm speed on that just doesn't look like it's 105 to me.
There's a
look
dog
85
in there.
There's a dog back there. I mean, there's so many distractions going on. So, I mean, I don't know. Rob, what do you think?
I think he's on the path to 105 there. I'm not sure that's 105.
When was that, Luke?
That was my 8th grade year / going into my freshman year.
Holy crap. You've changed a lot.
It was bad.
Yeah, it's the first thing that jumped out at me is I was like, man, this kid moves so much better now.
Oh, yeah.
So how did that happen? What happened between then, that video right there, and the video that is posted behind Rob and that we've all seen of you throwing 105 miles per hour?
So once I got to high school, obviously I got in the weight room a lot more, so I got a lot stronger. And then I just got better with my body movements. I started working with this pitching guy, and started changing my arm action. So that obviously helped a lot. And then the movements just kind of naturally came. And then once I got to college, I kind of changed my arm action a little bit more, and that's when I kind of got more explosive, and that's when the velo started coming.
So help me understand, you said change your arm action. Is this a conscious thing, or did you do it through weighted balls? Were you conscious of the fact that you needed to change your arm action, or did it naturally change?
I wasn't until someone told me. I was so we changed my arm action my sophomore year in high school once I finished up my sophomore year there. And once we changed it then, I got to junior college, and then one of my teammates, Jackson Rutledge, had told me, hey, man, I've been looking at your arm action, and I think you should change it because right now it looks like you might have a early elbow injury. And I was like, all right. So I obviously listened to him because no one wants an elbow injury. So I started shortening it up a little bit more and getting kind of just keeping it tighter.
Gotcha. So, I mean, yeah, Jackson could throw a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more for injury prevention in your mind than it was for like velo game.
Yeah.
And the velo kind of came with it, or did you?
Yeah, I came with it.
So where are you in that video? I know you're in Charlotte. Who's taking that video? Where were you?
That was that's one of the guys that works at the facility. His name's Jake Robbins.
Okay, I know Jake, and Jake was a former pro. So and I know he sent me the 13U video also there.
Yeah.
What has Jake helped you with over the years?
He's just kind of helped me out with kind of pushing my name out there, obviously getting my names out to scouts and everything. And then he was my pitching coach when I was a lot younger, when I was, I think, from the age 11 to around 15.
So what are some of the workouts he had you doing, between maybe 13 and 15 when you started to turn the corner?
Yeah, probably just some plyo work, a lot of plyo ball throwing, a lot of velo days. So
weighted balls at the age of like 13 to 15. How much of that were you using? Because it is such a debate today on them.
Yeah, it wasn't often. It was probably like twice a week.
Did you find that helped tighten up your arm action some? Because usually an overweighted ball tends to correct some of the longer.
Yeah, I think it did that a little bit.
Yeah. So you can use it to Josh's point. He's one of those dinosaurs that doesn't believe in weighted balls, all that stuff. But
that is not true. I just don't.
Oh, whatever. I know you, Mr. Old School. But you can use weighted balls, especially overweighted balls, to help tighten up your arm action, even without using max effort. You can just get
just not high intent throws.
Yep.
So are you the hardest throwing guy on the planet?
I mean, if that's nice to think about, but I mean, there's obviously Rollers Chapman who's still there. There's Jordan Hicks who's recovering from Tommy John, but.
So are you saying you're the hardest active throwing guy, or I mean, Ralda's?
There you go. We'll go with that.
Okay. I mean, and Jordan Hicks follows me, so if you want to throw out a challenge to him,
Oh,
I mean, I'm here for you if you want to do it.
oh God.
Don't do it too.
I
I'll
wouldn't
rescue you.
advise
I'll
it.
intervene. I'm going to intervene and rescue you from that.
I
So
don't know
how
what
do
that
you?
challenge.
So you're committed to you're committed now to South Carolina. Throwing 105. Why were you not? Obviously, you weren't 105 a couple years ago, but why were you not committed to a Power 5 4-year school 2 years ago?
Yeah. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I ended up committing to a smaller D1 school, and I ended up signing. And I think that was a big mistake for me, because once I got to summer ball after my senior year, all these college teams were trying to talk to me, and one of the teams, they were trying to get me out of my NLI, and we pushed through it, and we got denied. So then we went with another case, and they ended up denying it again. So he was like, "Hey man, can't do much about it." So I just went and ended up going to a junior college so I could transfer out the next year.
Why was it the wrong decision as a sophomore?
Just because, I mean, I got a lot better, obviously. I mean, sophomore year, I was up to 85, 86, my senior, the summer of it. And then, obviously, my senior year, I was 86 to 88, touching 90. So I just felt like I could have been in a better division.
So I'm sorry, one more for you, and then Rob, take it from there. Why did you commit as a sophomore then?
I just felt like I was pushed to take whatever offers I had as soon as I could before they got taken away.
I think that goes on so much. I mean, my son pitches at Georgia Tech. We played for the East Cobb Astros growing up, and I saw that pressure on kids to commit right away because they see their teammates committing, and they're like, it's musical chairs, and someday the music's going to stop, and they need a chair. So it sounds like that's the same thing.
Yeah, that's about right.
So to clear everything up, all these people on Twitter, all those replies, that was a 5-ounce baseball, regular baseball, right?
Yeah, that was a 5-ounce. I'm gonna bring a scale the next time I throw a bullpen.
I mean, it's amazing what people want to do. They kind of want to shoot at you when they see a guy throwing nothing but flames.
Yeah.
I had your back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you throw it for a strike consistently?
Oh my God.
105? I don't think anyone can throw 105 consistently for a strike. Even Jordan Hicks in 2008 when he threw, or 2018 when he threw 105 was way over.
And guess what? Everybody loved it, and the whole
everyone loves it.
Yeah. So what was the place like when you hit 105? I see people looking at you. I mean, I cut dude out over here. I had that meme going for you.
That was legendary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly didn't even know that I hit 105. He was throwing out numbers, and then he stopped throwing them out, and then I threw a pitch, and then everyone started looking at me, and they were like, "What?" And then I was like, "All right, I must have hit something good," because I wasn't feeling good that day. And then come to find out, he tells me after my bullpen, he's like, "You hit 105." I was like, "What?"
You were sitting 101 in that bullpen.
Yeah, I was sitting around 101, 102.
Yeah. That sounds stupid when you say that. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there hearing that, and I'm like, sitting 101, 102. That's crazy stuff. What did it feel like coming out of your hand at 105? I mean, I'm just curious.
It felt a little more effortless because some of the times I was grunting and I was only popping a 101 or a 100. And then I was like, man, I'm going to put some biofreeze on. Put some biofreeze on. The first throw was 105.
That's a good ad for biofreeze, right?
I was like, that's the magic stuff right there.
So what other pitches do you throw?
I throw everything. I throw a changeup, a slider, and a curveball.
What do your grips look like real quick? I know people love to say
changeup is on the 2-seam.
Do you pronate through it, or you just throw it straight?
I just throw it. I try and keep it as flat as possible right here.
Gotcha.
That my college coach tells me to, kind of pull down like this, not like this, or like this. Slider and curveball are both on the horseshoe. I just throw them differently.
And what are your velos on those pitches since you're sitting 101, 102 with your other stuff, with your fastball?
I haven't thrown it since I've got my velo jump. I actually haven't thrown any off-speed pitches, but in college my slider was anywhere from like 82 to 86. My changeup was same thing, anywhere from 82 to 86, and then my curveball is like low 80s.
Are you throwing anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm actually throwing Sunday for PBR Texas.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if you throw any change-ups or sliders or curveballs and what the velo is on those now.
Yeah, they're gonna hook up the TrackMan and get all my spin rates and
Oh,
stuff.
this is gonna be sick! I can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it'll be
need to
legit
see
this
that.
time, so no one can say anything.
Yeah. Well, all right. So for me, I have a pocket radar just to clear things up on radar guns and stuff. I have a pocket radar, have had one for years, long time, since they actually came up with them. I've also had a stalker for a long time, doing side by side plenty of times. And to me, the pocket radar, if anything, will read a tick low. And that's just God's honest truth. It picks it up. I mean, it picks it up a tiny bit later on just because of rain sometimes. And if it picks it up later, then your velo will be actually a little bit lower. I've rarely, if ever, seen it pick it up high. I mean, maybe if you're not throwing a regulation ball.
Yeah.
So for all those people out there, pocket radar is dead accurate. And if anything, it's based on range. There's a little bit less range. It would pick it up later and would be lower than a stalker, not higher.
Yeah.
I second that with you. Over in last year, I was in Atlanta. I was showing college coaches, putting it, like you said, Rob, right next to their big expensive ones, so that they didn't think I was fudging numbers. Which means, Luke, you really throw what, 106, 107?
I guess so. 1 minus. I guess it's 106.
Yeah, I was going around my house saying, your video kind of screwed me up all weekend because I watched it over and over again, and it kind of blew my mind. I was like, this guy may have actually thrown the hardest pitch ever based on, my estimation, and the hardest pitch, I guess, under TrackMan is what, like 101, 105.1.
Yeah.
So, who knows, since you don't have decimal places there.
I guess we'll find out Sunday.
Dude, I am so excited to see that.
Yes, sir.
What was the Twitter reaction like for you? Like, what has happened since then?
The first one I posted where I hit 102, I wasn't expecting much. My pitching guy was just like, hey, post it on Twitter. So, all right, cool. I didn't think anything was going to happen. And then I started getting tweets and retweets and retweets and retweets. And then I posted it on Instagram, and like everyone started posting it on their Instagrams and stuff. I ended up, I was at like 500 followers on Twitter and like 1,400 on Instagram. And now I'm at like 2,500 on Twitter and like almost 7,000 on Instagram. So it's blown up.
You're a show off.
Hey, you got more followers than I do.
He pays for them. They're bots. He pays
It's
for
good
them.
content.
Yeah, there is no way. I don't even know how to get a bot. That is not.
Yeah, you got to pay for those.
Yeah, I ain't paying for followers. Come on.
I would definitely.
Yeah, well, no, you would. I have no doubt you would. So I noticed that this is one thing that jumped out at me is you move really explosively for a big guy. I mean, you're what, 6'8"?
Yeah.
Is that a legit 6'8"?
Yeah, legit 6'8". Could be 6'9".
Jesus. And you move, you do a lot of things a smaller guy would do movement-wise. How hard is it to move well as a bigger guy? Because I've heard Randy Johnson, for example, said really tall guys are not meant to pitch because it's hard to sync everything up. And it seems like you might have had that over the years. Like it took you a while to sync everything up. So give me some idea of like how you developed.
Yeah, my parents always told me as a kid, like you got to start growing into your body. Because like even my freshman year, I was like 6'4", 6'5", and I had like a size 15 shoe at the time. And they were just like, yeah, you just got to grow into your body and get used to it. And then once I got used to it, I started working on my body movements with a med ball on the mound. So that obviously helped a lot. So it's just kind of like getting used to it.
So I'm a big fan of that drill specifically, using a med ball on the mound, because it reduces stress on your arm. You're not using your arm as much, and you're throwing max effort to time everything up. Is that kind of what you were doing?
Yeah, basically. And then obviously it's safer, so it's easier to work on your movements more often.
Was there a time at, like the video we saw at the beginning where you weren't, maybe very good. You were going through that growing stage and trying to understand your body. Because I think a lot of kids deal with that and it gets really frustrating, especially when they're taller kids or have a bigger frame, that it takes them longer to kind of figure out their body. Did you go through that? And how'd you kind of stay mentally strong to get through that, not get so frustrated?
Yeah. So when I was a freshman in high school, I mean, obviously I wasn't throwing that hard. Same thing in that video. I was probably throwing like the mid 70s my freshman year, but I never was bad. I always competed as a pitcher. Like I was always able to get people out because I was just like naturally talented at just throwing my pitches and hitting them for strikes and always getting outs. But once I started taking it more seriously, my sophomore year, I started working with a guy on changing all my movements. He was like, "Man, you could be really good." And I think I topped out at like 79, ending my sophomore year. Started working with him for like 2 months. I go to Perfect Game down in Lake Point, and I hit 87 for my first one. So, I mean, once that hit,
What's the reason? How does that jump happen?
I completely changed my arm action. Just kind of flattened out my arm action. There's some little things we changed in there, like my front knee was giving out when I pitched. So just kind of making sure I stayed that front knee strong. A lot of those things helped.
Were you frustrated at that age as a sophomore throwing 70 something like that? Did you ever think you could get to this point?
No, it was frustrating watching everyone that threw, like, because obviously when I was a sophomore in high school, there was, I mean, kids at Perfect Game throwing like upper nines, mid nines. So I was just like, why not me? And then I started changing all my stuff, and then I was like, wow, this could be me.
So I read somewhere where you changed your mentality too, that you started throwing kind of pissed off instead of trying to just throw the ball over. Is that true?
Yeah. It was more kind of entailed to my starts because my starts were a little bit less high intensity than my closes because I got hyped up a lot last year when I was closing. Like I'd always grunt something after I strike a kid out to end the inning or something like that. And then going into this year, I was just talking to my pitching coaches and like looking at all the players that were pitching next to me on my team. And I just kind of wanted to change my attitude because I felt like changing my attitude would like kind of change my outlook on the field so it'd look a lot better.
So what pitchers do you model yourself after? I mean, do you look at big guys? Are you just looking at mentality of pitchers? Are you looking at stuff? What do you look at, or do you not model yourself after anybody?
I don't really look at stuff. I mean, obviously, because I can't learn that stuff as of right now. Like, I can't learn Chris Sale's slider if I'm not with Chris Sale unless, like, we look at everything that he does because his arm action is completely different. But just kind of modeling my attitude after people like Max Scherzer, obviously my teammate Jackson Rutledge, and then another teammate named Mitchell Parker. I just kind of model myself after people that have good attitudes on the field. Not like angry attitudes, but just more like an FU attitude.
Yeah, you seem kind of chill for an FU attitude. You must be mean when you get out there.
Yeah, a little bit. When I'm on the mound, I don't get like angry, but I just kind of try to stay focused now.
Yeah, I was going to say 105 angry is going to leave a mark. I don't know.
So,
yes, sir.
Do you think you're moving forward? How does this change your approach, or does it not? I mean, this is big. I mean, there's like millions of views on this and follows, and now every time you go out there, people are going to be looking at the radar gun to see 130 miles per hour. So, like, how do you approach this?
I just kind of got to stay in myself. Like, obviously, I know if I go into this bullpen Sunday and I don't throw 105, people are going to be like, "That was fake. There's no way you hit that." Like, even if I still hit 102 in that bullpen on Sunday, they're going to be like, "Oh, you didn't hit 105. You must have been just a fluke with the gun. It must have just been juiced or something." Because I've seen a lot of people saying that the gun was juiced and stuff, and that kind of pisses me off. Just because, like, I mean. It's 102 and 105 is like it's a pretty close difference, but I mean
105 is definitely legendary. 102, honestly, is pretty legendary. I would not let the haters get you down. I mean,
yeah,
if you only hit 102, we'll deal with it.
So yeah, just kind of meeting everyone's expectations at this point. It's going to be hard.
What do you want people to know about you? Because we all see you on Twitter, right? And then we all, everybody's so nasty, right? They make their own judgments based on this video they see and who you are as a person and what kind of kid you are and what kind of baseball player you are. Like, who are you and what do you want people to know about you?
I mean, obviously, I just want to prove everyone wrong. I feel like I've been doubted a lot in the past couple of years. So, I mean, just kind of like knowing that, like, I am the top level baseball player, and like not being slept on anymore is nice. So, just kind of that.
So what do you think, like, where would you say what is your goals velo wise? I mean, 105's, it's pretty good, but what's like the next thing for you?
Honestly, 105. I mean, once I've hit it, I'm done right there. That's my cap not my cap on velo, but like that's the highest I really want to hit. I think honestly, just kind of being able to throw my secondary is kind of the big part for a strike, and then just being a better pitcher, obviously.
I mean, if you throw 110, I'm not gonna not tweet you out.
Oh, neither would I. I'm obviously gonna tweet that out.
Yeah.
But just kind of like overall, like 105 is nice, but like 105 ain't gonna play in the MLB if you can't throw a curveball or a slider for a strike.
It still may play in the MLB.
It still may play for a strike,
I mean,
but
don't sell yourself
for a
short.
career.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, for a closer 105, I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. I mean, I still can't believe I'm talking about that, actually. So I read about, you said that your dad had inspired you. Two things. How did your dad help you growing up? And tell us a little bit more about that backstory in this bullpen.
He was just always there for me as a coach, basically. He was always there to, push me to get better. And, like, whenever I needed something, if I needed to throw, him or my mom would throw with me in the backyard. Obviously, they can't do that now anymore. And just they were always there to push me to become a better person. Obviously, them being educators, they're always having to push kids, students, so they're that are behind them. And so just having that is obviously awesome as a kid, having my parents push me to be better.
So number one, do you view yourself, like mentally, do you view yourself as a starter, reliever, closer? I mean, I guess it's between starter and closer at this point. Mentally, it seems like you're able to empty the tank better as a closer. Is that right or wrong? Or
yeah, I'd say that's right. But obviously, starting is more enticing for teams. So being able to start is obviously huge. And then obviously, if they need it, they can push me into the bullpen, and I would have no problem closing.
What advice do you have for kind of kids growing up in your same position? So somebody that started out as, you weren't turning any heads, you maybe were a giant kid on the field where everybody's mouth is open. What advice do you have for kids going through this development process as a guy that's kind of at the precipice of making it, at least? I mean, making it.
Yeah, I would say honestly, just kind of like know your resources, know if they're smart, know if they're good, make sure you do your research on everything. Just make sure you're getting with the right people, because I knew when I was a kid, I had some coaches that weren't very smart, but they thought they knew everything. So just kind of getting around the good resources, make sure, like, if you want to hop on a certain program, make sure you Google the program and look everything up. Obviously, I did a lot of research on plyos before I started using plyos. And then med ball work has obviously always been very good. So just kind of have smart resources.
So you mentioned being smart about the resources and understanding the resources and just not learning until you were older. So if there's a kid that's 13 through 17, what are some of the things that are mistakes you've seen, or that they need to be aware of when they're looking for good resources and good coaches?
Yeah, so I'd say one of the main ones would be bad plyo programs. I think that's obviously a huge no-no if you're not doing it correctly. That's like easy shoulder injury, easy elbow injury. So just obviously, I think knowing your resources and like just kind of being smart with plyo programs. You can Google any kind of smart plyo program. Driveline's a huge good one. That's what I kind of base my program off of. So just kind of like make sure you know what you're doing before you start doing it, because in the long run, it could really hurt you.
So is grabbing a plyo ball and running and chucking it into the wall at 13, 14 years old a good idea?
That is a terrible idea.
Why?
Just because, I mean, throwing a weighted ball already puts stress on your arm, but you just got to be smart with knowing how to throw it. Like, most of my heavy ball throws are not high intent at all. Like my 2-pound plyo balls, maybe 50 to 60% throws. And obviously it's a lot shorter of an arm action than what my arm action looks like in the pitching videos of me throwing harder. Obviously I keep it as short as possible just to be safe, and it's more of arm mapping. And then the lighter weight ones, yeah, you can throw them as hard as you can, but you still want to be smart with the program, because you don't want to just warm your arm up and just start heaving balls. you got to go through like a whole warm-up routine, a whole activation routine on your shoulder and elbow, and just making sure you're safe with everything.
Yeah, not only that, I think it's important to ramp yourself up. You can't just get off the couch and say, now I'm going to do a weighted ball program and start running and throwing and doing max effort.
Yeah.
Just like you wouldn't run a 100-yard sprint without actually, stretching, warming up to it. You're going to pull something. You're going to hurt something. I mean, you need to be smart, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a big difference between stretching and there's going to be a big difference. Obviously, you can talk on the running side. There's a big difference between stretching for 2 minutes and then running 100 yards than stretching for 20 minutes and running 100 yards. Your time's going to be a lot faster. And you're going to be a lot less susceptible to getting injured. Same thing with throwing weighted balls. If you literally do a 5-minute warm-up, I can almost guarantee after a couple of years, your arm's going to be gone. But obviously, a solid 25 to 35-minute warm-up to warm up your whole body and warm up, obviously, your hips, your shoulders, your elbow, just do your overall body. 20 to 30 minutes is going to change a lot.
Growing up, that so many coaches and so many parents focus on just throw strikes, because that means winning a game a lot of times, especially as a young kid. If you can throw the ball over the plate, you're going to get swings and misses because the hitters suck when they're little.
Yeah.
How do you? So I'm sure you had that as a player where people were doing that, where coaches or parents were doing that. Probably not your parents, because your parents seem to have a good view. What is your message for kids on that about developing command first versus going for long-term development?
Yeah, I feel like there's a distinct age line where that starts and stops. I feel like 12 U and under, or 13 U and under, I feel like it's just throw strikes, because there's not really any, like, you're not getting scouted at 12 years old unless you're that good. But I mean, obviously at 12 years old, everyone wants to win, so they just throw strikes. Obviously wins baseball games, and everyone wants to win. But after that line, I'd say it's more of development and just developing the overall pitcher in you.
So do you throw kind of year round now? What's your routine? Do you take time off? Do you try to always throw? I know some people do a variety of different things. Scherzer throws year round, Bauer throws year round, other guys take a few months off. What do you do?
I just take time off when it's needed. Obviously there's times where your arm's basically telling you, hey man, I need a break. So you just kind of give it a break when you can. Like, just whenever there's an overall time to take a break. Like last year when I finished school, I had like 40 innings clocked. So we took I took 8 weeks off, and then I went straight to the Northwoods. So that was my basically break for the year. And then I took like 2 weeks off last fall. So just kind of knowing when to take a break, and just, I wouldn't throw 12 months out of the year.
So when you are not throwing, when Luke Little is not throwing 105 miles per hour, what is he doing?
Killing it in the gym.
I mean, what are you doing for fun outside of the baseball stuff? Where do you get your mind off the game and give yourself a mental break?
Mostly to get my mind off the game, playing video games.
Love it.
With my friends.
What game?
I play Call of Duty.
Did you join our Call of Duty tournament we had?
I was trying to get a team together with two of my teammates.
All right, well, we gotta get you together, because actually my son's here downstairs working out, and they won that tournament, so they're throwing it down. You got to get together a team, Mr. 105.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at Call of Duty. I used to play competitively, but I was looking at the winners of that tournament, and they looked nasty.
Yeah, it's a bunch of Georgia Tech. Well, it's a couple at least Georgia Tech guys.
Yeah,
I just find it suspicious that, of course, the team running the tournament is the one that ran through it.
Yeah, that's sounds like a bit of a cheat right there.
Especially, yeah. I mean, they're the pitching ninja team. It's a pitching ninja tournament. It's my kid. I mean, I could absolutely fix those things. I'm not saying I did, but I'm not saying I didn't.
Where is Luke Little in 7 years? We saw the video to start of you at 13 years old. We've all seen the video of you this past week. Where are you in 7 years?
From now, 7 years?
Well, yeah, because we'll go in sevens, right? That video that I showed at the beginning was 7 years ago. Now we see where you are. So now let's go ahead another 7. Where are you?
7 years, hopefully a multi-all-star, maybe a World Series champ. That would be awesome. Obviously, just to kind of stay healthy and hopefully be in the big leagues for several years on end would be awesome.
Would you rather throw 110 or be a World Series champ? You got a choice.
World Series champ, no doubt about it.
What do you think of the guys that say velo doesn't matter?
Velo does matter in certain senses. I mean, obviously, dicing at 98 and throwing 105 to the backstop, obviously I'm taking 98, but I just think there's a certain extent, and there's very few people that it doesn't matter to. Obviously, like Kyle Hendricks, doesn't matter to him. I mean, the guy throws like mid to upper eights and just dices. Obviously, Woody Williams was my college coach. He diced in the mid to upper 80s mostly through his career. But velo does matter in the sense of, if you can't dice with all your pitches, you got to have something to blow them away. Like so the difference between me and a kid throwing 88 is, if his slider and his changeup and his curveball ain't working, kids are most likely going to hit that 88-mile-an-hour fastball. But if my slider, my curveball, and my changeup ain't working, I can most likely get away with a bunch of 99-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Yeah, get away with 99. That's But to your point, and this is what people don't get. I mean, obviously, high-level command, it's very hard to get. There aren't many people that have the command of a Greg Maddux or a Kyle Hendricks, along with the movement. And what that does is, if you can throw multiple pitches and hit your spot, you're in effect making the hitter's judgment shorter. They have to make a decision later. You can tunnel your pitches, all that. But throwing 105 also makes a hitter's judgment greater. Yeah. And it gives you more leeway with your other pitches. You can miss and still blow them away.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't get that, is they think it's just, well, why don't you just hit your spots and throw like Greg Maddux? Well, how many Greg Madduxes are there in the history of baseball?
One. I saw some statistic with him. He had like 302 walks in his career, and like 100 and something of them were intentional.
So we're talking to Trevor Bauer, and he has to run to hit 105 or use underweighted ball. So do you have anything you can say to him?
I don't know. Hopefully, if they take the D out, I can get a hit off of them.
Yeah, I'm just talking shit on your behalf. That's all I'm doing. You don't have to say anything. I'll show Bauer it, and all will be cool. Because
perfect.
Maybe with a 3-ounce ball, he'd be one. One thing that I think people don't get, and this is probably a good discussion on JUCO, is, when do you feel JUCO is the right choice? What did you get out of your experience? And do you feel like you're a JUCO bandit now, so that Eric Sim can claim you? Or
yeah. I think the decision of going to JUCO is, I think it's kind of you got to be smart. If you're throwing like low 80s and you think you're going to play at Vanderbilt, then you're not in the right mindset. But I think if you think you're almost there, if you need another year of development, just kind of think, if you were a junior in high school, do you think you could play at a D1 school in 2 years? I feel like that's the decision to go to a Division I, to go to a junior college and then transfer out. So that was kind of the thing for me. Like, I was at a low Division I school, and I wanted to play at a high Division I school. So I thought 1 year would be great for the draft, but also college. So I ended up going there, and then the development came and then put me where I was.
Do you follow Eric Sim?
Yes, I do follow him.
Did you watch his interview?
I did not.
Way to go. Thanks for the support. You got to watch his interview. You got to go see him. What do you think of Eric Sim's role in the game? Because he's totally having fun. And in the interview, I talked to him about this. And I said, I think you have a much bigger impact and influence on the game and on young men than you think. I mean, is it something at the JUCO level that you and your boys talk about or recognize or follow?
Not really the boys. I just feel like everyone sleeps on JUCO, and obviously he kind of promotes it as high as he can, just saying that, like, it's not a bad decision. Like, my junior college could probably beat half the Power 5 teams.
I think there's a toughness that seems to come with it, at least from what I'm seeing, and that might be helping you later on in your career, right?
Yeah, just kind of like being on your own, because at most junior colleges, you don't have a weightlifting program. You do your own thing. So just kind of learning to be on your own, just like in pro ball.
I loved his story of saying how, that he has guys coming out of JUCO have a bigger appreciation. And he remembers, like, the first time Chipotle was catered, and he was like, what the F is this? He was used to like a bread and cheese sandwich, and
Yeah.
that blew his mind. And I think it was a great point talking about how you guys coming out of junior college have a different appreciation for the game and for the luxuries afforded to you than a kid straight out of high school who just, they've always been good and now they get to go somewhere that's, beautiful facilities and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% another big reason.
So tell me about the draft process. You don't have to get into any details, but I'm assuming that you got a lot of people circling around you. How excited are you for June? And what do you see? What do you know?
I'm obviously super excited for it. I'm obviously going to see what happens. I'm not going to have the highest expectations just because my expectations were high my freshman year and my senior year in high school, and obviously I didn't get drafted either way. So just going to have low expectations going into it and just hope for the best, obviously, and whatever team wants to draft me will draft me.
I'm really excited to watch. Number one, I think Luke's last bullpen changed a lot of people's lives. There are so many guys that commented on it saying that this is the most ridiculous thing that they've seen. Pro guys. I mean, people don't know how hard this is. Then you just ignore the haters and keep doing what you're doing. You seem to have a really good mindset for the game. I love to see your development. You're still not done developing.
No.
Yeah, not even close. And you know it, which is beautiful. So you're going to put the work in, and I think that that's the sign of somebody that's going to make it to me.
Yeah, obviously I got blocking out the haters is going to be huge. Like it's already starting to happen. Like I saw one guy was like guns juiced. Like I was a pro guy. I think he's in like the Rangers organization. He was like guns juiced. And then I retweeted, or he was like pocket radars aren't very reliable. And then I was like, I commented, I'm not going to say anything back to anyone, but I was just like, hey, I'll be on TrackMan next Sunday. You can look out for that. And he was like, do you think you're going to hit 105 again? Honestly, be honest. And I was like, did I think I was going to hit 105 in the last bullpen? No. Like,
you got to learn where the block button is for those guys.
Yeah.
I'll try to have your back on it. I mean, I'm not a big fan. Sim's not a big fan of anybody sitting there, talking trash and saying ball, all that stuff. I mean, dude, to throw 105 indoors without the adrenaline going in a game or an outdoor
with
game.
ultra boosts.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I don't know that anybody's ever done that from the mound. So I appreciate it. And I think most of the people around baseball appreciate it. I even tried to break down your video and try to see how much time it took for the ball to get to home plate. It's so hard to even, number one, your follow through blocked the ball for me. So
yeah, it does a lot.
Yeah. But two, there's no doubt that ball was just, that every pitch in that bullpen were just flames. So all the haters out there, step in the box. I mean, that's all I can say is either get behind the plate and catch Luke, or step in the box, or shut up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I represent the haters, Luke, okay? And I am going to be at Showcase Baseball Academy the next time you're there with my radar gun, and we're going to settle this for the Twitter world.
Hey, perfect. I'll be on TrackMan this Sunday, so if anyone says anything about TrackMan, then I'm just going to block them.
Luke, this was fun, man. This was cool. We wish you the best of luck, and we will definitely be following the progress with the rest of the Twitter world. And we expect the first interview when you do get that World Series and that All-Star recognition.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I was gonna say we're gonna be retired at that time, man. We're just killing it. We're gonna be on a beach somewhere.
I'm not. I don't get paid. I don't get paid for any of this. I'm free labor for Rob. I'm like a volley here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Luke, take it easy, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good one.